All 18 demons of Marvel by power level. There are several realms within the Marvel universe. Some are ruled by gods like Asgard or Olympus. Others are inhabited by mortals, as is the case with Earth. But in the depths of creation dwell the most terrible beings imaginable. Demons typically live within their infernal realms. Some rule with an iron fist, while others wait for the moment to take over from their masters. Some are so powerful that galaxies are nothing compared to their strength, while others are not as destructive but can still wreak havoc. But what they all have in common is that they are present in today's video. So sit tight as I list for you the 18 most powerful demons in all of Marvel. Let's go. Nightcrawler. Few people know, especially those who only follow the movies, but the teleporting mutant is half demon. He's the son of the demon Azazel and Mystique, which explains his color from his mother's side and his more demonic appearance from his father's side. Eventually, he discovered his origin and even dealt with demonic threats. When Wolverine was possessed, Nightcrawler promptly helped him out of that situation. And when he was dead, his father Azazel tried to attack Heaven with an army, using Nightcrawler as a connection, as the mutant was in paradise. His main power is teleportation, where his body quickly moves to a dimension of sulfur and comes out at the desired location. This process happens so quickly that he doesn't even notice it. Although he's a relatively strong mutant, he doesn't come close to the next demon on this list. Lilith. Lilith is much older than humanity, and her origin has nebulous legends, not knowing exactly how she came into being. She was the wife of Samael, an angel who rebelled and became Lucifer. After both were thrown into hell, she left him in search of her own future. She even had relationships with Mephisto and even with Adam, generating an entire race called the Mazikin. She's versatile in sorcery and can create other beings on her own using souls of victims, magic, or the void itself. Despite being very ancient and having relationships with powerful beings, she hasn't done much of relevance. She ranks above Nightcrawler simply because of the variety of powers such as teleportation, energy projection, and soul manipulation, and advanced mystical knowledge. Daimon. Daimon is the son of a lord of hell who called himself Lucifer and possessed a human woman. A year after being born, he got a pentagram-shaped mark on his chest. As he grew up, he and his family discovered the truth behind Damon's father, who had been disguised as a human all along. His mother went insane, and Daimon and his sister went into an orphanage. As he grew up, he became a master of the occult and in various situations acted as a hero. He's been on the side of Ghost Rider, and once even alongside the Avengers. He confronted and defeated his father, and became the ruler of one of the various infernal dimensions, but this position was later returned to his father. Within this dimension, he becomes even more powerful, and has powers such as manipulation of fire and souls, as well as super strength, super resilience, flight, telepathy, telekinesis, and teleportation, as well as healing factors, and several other basic powers of mystical characters. He also has his trident, which amplifies all of the previous powers. Satana is Damon's younger sister, daughter of the same father, and therefore a hybrid between demon and human. She has the same powers as her brother, but unlike him, she embraced her evil side and allied with her father. This gave her greater magical learning and freedom to use her powers without worrying about innocence. She turned into a succubus and began consuming people's souls. Additionally, she can imbue an ordinary weapon with her blood, making the weapon more powerful. Otherwise, she has the same capabilities as her brother, so both are well balanced in power. Blackheart. A place called Christ's Crown in New York caught the attention of the demon Mephisto. It turns out that this place was responsible for centuries of murders, creating accumulated negative energy. Mephisto used this energy to give form to his son, Blackheart. Despite boasting powers like increased strength, resistance, and speed, as well as telepathy, teleportation, levitation, immortality, soul capturing, and several others, he's not a great threat. I would expect more from a son of Mephisto. Blackheart miserably failed in trying to corrupt Spider-Man and Daredevil. He's stronger than a common demon, but nothing too impressive. Lucifer. Many demons within Marvel use the name Lucifer to scare humans, so it's hard to know for sure which one's the real one. This one apparently is the original Lucifer, the same one who led a third of heaven as an army to rebel against the Creator. After his attempt to seize power from God failed, he and his generals were expelled from paradise and thrown directly into hell. He has the basic set of powers for a demon, like mind manipulation, soul manipulation, fire control, etc. He rules his own infernal dimension, and holds this position because it's not certain whether he's actually Lucifer. If he were, he would rank much higher on the list, as the original devil. But since it's not confirmed and he doesn't have many deeds in the comics itself, he stays in this position. He ranks above the others for still being a ruler of a dimension, and having surpassed Ghost Rider on one occasion. Azazel. Nightcrawler's father claimed to be one of the oldest existing mutants, part of a select group of demonic mutants. He could use his teleportation power to go on Earth and impregnate women, and thanks to his connection with his children, he could go to Earth permanently. He was declared the most powerful teleporter existing. Besides being immortal, shapeshifting, mind manipulation, and being able to use magic, he himself claims to have fought against Mephisto for the position of Satan, which is given to the most powerful demon in hell. Despite being very strong, this is as far as he can go on the list, as from here on, the characters will become insane. In fact, there's already a video of Azazel here on the channel. When you're done here, go check it out if you want to know more. Null, the Living Darkness. Null is basically a mass of the suffering of beings known as Seraph, created after a collective suicide of that same race. Null is basically a mass of the suffering of beings known as Seraph, created after a collective suicide of that same race. Right after being born, it took as its goal to destroy all creation. Null does not have life or even physical form. He's a cluster of bad feelings. A mystical form created from the collective unconscious. Although strong enough to face Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, and Scarlet Witch at the same time, he hasn't had many appearances in the comics. So due to lack of deeds and appearances, he stays in this position. But because of the characters he faced, he ranks above the demons below. Surtur. Surtur is the leader and main member of the Fire Giants. Although not as frequent as the Ice Giants, the Fire Giants are a huge threat to Asgard. Surtur specifically is strong enough to threaten all of Asgard. He's slightly weaker than Odin, since in the Rebirth of the Gods comic, the father of all gods won a fight against Surtur every day in the afterlife. A mere clash of their swords could shake the 9 realms. Even so, he can still surpass Thor in terms of power level. He's been depicted with the power to burn Yggdrasil itself, and his fire was said to be the fire of creation. He's immensely powerful, and certainly a being with galaxy-level destruction power. Satannish. Satannish was one of the several rivals that Mephisto had to face. Both were made from the same primordial mass, but Satannish developed its own personality. This is its most acceptable origin. There's other sources that say it's a creation of Dormammu, so the mystery of its creation still remains. He's one of the most powerful beings to threaten the Earth. Among the demons is only second to Mephisto, as I said before. He makes various pacts with humans, but it's not known if he depends on its survival or just does it for fun. He's another one of the several demons on the list that can be a leader of an infernal dimension. And although it seems repetitive, it's important to make that clear, since it's a big acquisition for any demon. Doctor Strange stated he could summon him in a fight, but he doesn't because he's afraid of summoning someone with such power. He's a very old character with not many feats. Even his story is a bit confusing, but because of the rivalry with Mephisto, he clearly has to be high on this list. Zarathos. Zarathos was initially an angel who at some point fought against other spirits of vengeance. Seeing blood being shed, Yahweh, one of God's names, threw him into hell, and there Mephisto deceived him and turned him into the spirit of vengeance of Johnny Blaze. He was usually described as a fair character, but after becoming a spirit of vengeance, he became insane. As Ghost Rider, he's almost unbeatable, and was said by Doctor Strange to have immeasurable power. He's defeated Thor and clashed with the Hulk more than once, almost always emerging victorious. He's God's clenched fist and can only be killed by the Creator. From time to time, he ends up fighting Mephisto and has even defeated him more than once. The two are well matched in power level, so placing one below the other or one above the other isn't a big difference. He's also above Satannish in terms of relevance and feats, but hierarchically they both must possess similar power. Mephisto. Mephisto is one of the most powerful demon lords of hell. Over the past few years, the demon has received more prominence than ever. It's been shown that he's responsible for several catastrophes over the millennia, including Thanos coming to Earth millions of years ago. He was also able to create a demonic version of the Cosmic Cube and shaped a reality where he was the main god to be worshipped. He's one of the Nemesis creations, and one of the beings that causes the most problems for the heroes, in addition to having brought together all his versions from the multiverse to conquer reality. He was responsible for transforming the various spirits of vengeance over the ages, besides the most important, Johnny Blaze. When Johnny assumed the position of King of Hell, he took control of the Celestials who had died, which suggests that Mephisto had the same capacity in his position. And he was able to fight Galactus when he was in his dimension, but was defeated after Galactus threatened to consume Hell itself. Cyttorak. Cyttorak is an insanely powerful extra-dimensional being from the Crimson Cosmos. Before being banished to his native dimension, he was worshipped as both a god and a demon by humans. Thanks to a bet with other cosmic beings, he created the Cyttorak Jewel, a jewel that gives part of its power to a human host. And Cain Marko found this jewel, becoming the Juggernaut. All of Juggernaut's powers come from Cyttorak, so all of his feats are indirectly feats of the entity. At the height of his power, Juggernaut was able to destroy the walls of reality with his punches, and once treated Thor as if he were nothing. His attacks didn't even affect Cyttorak's avatar. Colossus and Magic confronted the entity once. Each of them had 1/5 of the power of the Phoenix, and even so, Cyttorak said that none of them was a threat. He can send beings directly into oblivion, and Cyttorak's famous chains used by Doctor Strange are strong enough to easily restrain Thanos. Galactus is afraid of him, and Vishanti's magic does nothing against the Red Demon. A fraction of his power can control the very fabric of this universe. And for these and other reasons, he's in this position. Beings more powerful than the previous ones on the list are afraid of Cyttorak, so he deserves his place in the ranking. Chthon. Chthon was one of the ancient gods of the earth, and the first to use black magic. The vast majority of this group of gods became corrupted, and each was banished to a different dimension. Chthon wrote the Dark Hold and left it on Earth, so that when someone found it, they would be corrupted by the book and give him access to the Earth again. This book is indestructible and contains the most powerful black magic spells ever seen. And thanks to the content of this book, creatures like werewolves emerged, for example. Thanks to it, Scarlet Witch has the ability to use chaos magic and be one of the most powerful characters in the publisher. Chthon created several demon races to serve him, and can manipulate the fabric of reality as he pleases using chaos magic and black magic. He exists in a place beyond a place, and in a time beyond time. He's probably only below Gaia in terms of ancient gods, which puts him above most of Marvel's gods and even several entities. He's in this position for being responsible for giving chaos magic to Wanda, and probably having the same level as her or even higher. And I believe that everyone here knows the havoc that Wanda wreaks whenever she's out of control, right? Now imagine that on a much larger scale. That's Chthon. Dormammu. Dormammu is a mystical being that controls the Dark Dimension, and is one of Doctor Strange's main enemies. He and his sister gathered matter to be more powerful, and in the end, both were the most powerful wizards in the dimension. By killing their own father, they were expelled from that dimension, which is not known, but their quest for conquest led them to the Dark Dimension. He even formed alliances with beings from other dimensions, and one of them was Odin. Loki stated that Odin saw Dormammu as an equal in power, but Dormammu claims he was superior, and Odin was afraid of him. He's considered more powerful than Satannish, Mephisto, and Lucifer. He's even challenged Eternity, and once managed to even surpass the entity, and prepared to fight the Watcher himself. He was powerful enough to fight against Agamotto, and against ancient gods on Galactus' level. He even threatened to destroy the Celestials themselves, so it's more than obvious why his position's so high on this list. Shumagorath. Shumagorath is one of the Great Old Ones, beings that precede the Earth and some of them even the universe itself, as is the case with Shumagorath. He himself says that he came before all existence, even before time. He was banished from Earth by a wizard, and since then he's spent a millennia trying to return. He's extremely powerful, and often said to be omnipotent, considered the main power of chaos, and declared the greatest of all the Old Ones. In his home dimension, he's basically unbeatable, and apparently cannot be killed in any way, at least not as far as we know. Just the pressure of his aura is capable of destroying entire galaxies, and can only be harmed by extremely powerful magics. When he is summoned on Earth, only a part of his essence really comes to the planet, and even so, he's the size of entire buildings. For all this and much more, he ranks second on this list. After all, he's one of the only beings that have not yet been defeated, only banished. Because that's all you can really do to him. Killing him is impossible. The one below. All for those who follow the channel, this name's already familiar. But there's no way, despite being very recent, it shook the cosmic structure of Marvel. He commands the lowest infernal dimension, and even Mephisto is afraid of him. He's the counterpart of the One Above All. And if the One Above All is the representation of the writers in the entire Marvel, the One Below All is the representation of the end of the publisher. He's responsible for empowering all characters with gamma radiation, like Hulk, Red Hulk, A-Bomb, and so on. Thanks to him, these beings are immortal since when they die, he brings them back to life. If not stopped, Hulk will kill Franklin Richards and the Immortal Man, becoming the last being in the universe. The last being is destined to receive cosmic energy from the One Above All's heralds, the Metatron. The Hulk possessed by the One Below All killed Metatron, and took the energy for himself. He became the destroyer of worlds of the 8th cosmos, literally punching planets. And it took an alien race to send a message to the past in hopes that someone would stop the Cosmic Emerald Giant. If you liked this video, leave a like below and subscribe to the channel to watch the next videos. Thanks!